Hello, everyone. Welcome back once again to the Backcast, the podcast thing where we talk about the stuff we've been playing and anything else that happens to be on our mind. Joe, welcome.
Hello, Dan.
And we got our something special with our year-end.
Yeah, this is like year-end, breaking into the new year.
And then kickoff kind of thing as well, kickoff of the next year, because we're not sure exactly when this is going to go up.
I mean, it'll probably go up on the 1st, I guess.
The 31st or the 1st.
We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen.
Yeah. We're going to do... I don't know. We're still figuring out a lot of things. We're still in alpha here, folks. I'm going to keep saying that.
Keep calling it alpha. That's get out of jail free card, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're in early access.
We don't even as long as you have a beta tag on something, you can have all sorts of issues.
That's true. And you don't have to ever put your game on sale.
Yeah, well, exactly. Speaking of, like you're leading into what I've been playing.
I am a master of the Segway.
Yep, just don't drive it off a cliff.
There you go.
That's how the guy who owned the CEO of Segway died.
Segway.
He rode a Segway off a cliff.
Segway jokes.
Yeah. Anyway,
timely.
Playing the early access game of Secrets of Grindia.
Cool looking game. I remember seeing some early access footage.
Yeah, I mean, it's all early access footage now.
I guess that's true. I mean, like way early, I guess.
Yeah.
It was the original stuff that I had seen.
Right. And they've re-upped the art style as they've gone a couple of times. But
I don't hate it.
I
like it a lot.
$15 right now for what it is. And it's an interesting thing because it's
very linked to the past.
Yes, but the combat is actually way more in depth than that, and you level your character how you want. So you can have like a fighter or like a two-handed fighter, a sword and shield fighter, a mage.
A lot more RPG elements.
Yes, there is,
in.
And you can constantly like respec for free. I think I found a bunch of stuff that I
That's
want.
Cool.
Just a heck of a thing. Like it's in the name.
Enjoying it, I imagine.
Oh, yes, loved it. And the story is actually really, really good.
I didn't realize there were... Oh, wait, no, the story is that you're going out to grind, right?
Sort of.
You're going out to grind all of the things?
Basically, the world is like kind of the people of prestige are collectors.
Okay.
And what happens is you get a rare drop on your collector entrance exam.
Oh.
And basically everybody's like, oh, well, you're a born collector.
You have the gift.
Well, because... I don't want to get too far into it, but every creature after so many kills, and I think they kind of infer but don't say it's exactly 100, but after you kill something enough, a card drops for that creature. That's what you're collecting.
Okay.
But they have actual buffs. Like I killed a creature that gives me just 5% increased defense.
Interesting.
Because I killed enough of them and got the card.
Now, are those cards consumables?
No,
or...
they go into an album.
Okay.
You've got to catch them all.
Got to catch them
by
all.
murdering monsters.
Yeah, I mean that's the MO of that kind of game,
right? But there's nothing terribly surprising about where the game goes. And I should say I'm only about half. I played all the way through what's available in the story, and it's about 50% is what my percentage complete says. But there's crafting, and there's a whole host of other things that are modern game elements, and the writing is surprisingly good. It's
you kind of want that. You always want good writing.
Well, it's clever because you have a sentient artifact with you, a bag of infinite holding.
Oh, of course.
But he's a grumpy old man. He's real sassy, and real curmudgeon-y, and it's fantastic.
It's a good trope. It works.
It is
on a number of levels.
Right, and you're interacting with like you find a shield that's a pacifist. Which is ridiculously good stats, but when you try and block with it, it's like, no, what are you doing? And refuses to block. So it's
okay. I like it. Have you found any cool weapons yet?
Note? I got a carrot sword fairly early on.
Okay.
Right now I'm rocking a lightsaber.
That's awesome.
That I've crafted out of modern technology. But yeah, it's just... I don't know. It's a heck of a thing that's worth experiencing if you like the old school kind of sprite animation and good writing. It's $15, and as they update it, I'm going to get more. I mean, they've been working on it for years.
Seems worthwhile.
So I'm not expecting anything anytime soon, but checking in every couple of months or every time they push more to live. I think I'm about you're dealing. The plot has you collecting what it appears to be 4 sentient artifacts because there's a pedestal with 4 spots, and I've collected the 3rd but can't turn it in.
Okay.
And there's some other things, and they're all like I said, they're all sentient, and since they're kind of evil artifacts, they tend to be kind of mouthy.
I mean, I'm glad it's written well.
It's yeah,
and to try and pull off something like sentient
artifacts,
objects
in a collector-based economy.
Yeah,
and basically everybody's like, "Oh, you're a collector. Well, do this quest for me." It's very impressive, let's say. But
that sounds delightful. I hope to pick this game up shortly as well.
Yeah,
do they have co-op yet?
Yeah, co-op's in.
Okay,
it's
all right.
400 megabytes to download.
Okay, small enough.
So even the space challenged among us can
space challenged like myself.
Can figure a way to do it. But it's I would say if you have any fondness for a Link to the Past or that style of combat, but
I mean best Zelda.
It absolutely
Link to the Past, best Zelda.
Easily best Zelda. And yes, we are including Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is good.
I haven't played it yet, so I will make.
It's
no claims.
Yeah, so
I know it's good. I've seen it. It looks really cool. I don't know that it can trump my nostalgia for.
Well, here's the thing: is playing a game that's based on that but expanded makes me love that game even more.
Hey, I'm all about that, and it's kind of what drew me to Grindia in the first place. I was like, "Ooh, there
right.
it is!" Like, it's very Link to the Past.
Yeah, stay for the Link to the Past, but then get sucked into all of the many really cool systems there, and the surprisingly and engrossing story. I actually was really sad that the story kind of left off not at a cliffhanger, but like I've been introduced to the big bad, and you kind of see how he gets to be the way he is. There's a lot of time travel, rifty kind of other stuff that goes on, and
okay, weird. I did not. Okay,
there's some.
I know nothing about like whatever story they're trying to tell.
Well, it's neither did I going in, which was fantastic. So I won't say much more than that. But time travel puzzles. Go back in time, change this, then go.
Okay.
There's one quest that revolves around getting a 1,000-year-old brew, which is exactly the time your rifts are spaced apart. So it's putting a barrel of alcohol in the right spot so you could find it 1,000 years later and then take it back to the past.
Wow.
So it's
Are you playing an ocarina to
no
to go between timelines?
Literal riffs.
Okay.
Just jump in here and
you're suddenly back.
Right. There's you find
more of a Chrono Trigger
style. You fight a phase man.
Phase man?
Yes. And then you fight a phase man and I think that's basically the acronym in its name spells out Gundam. You fight a Gundam.
Okay. All right. It's weird.
You're not expecting a lot of the places this goes, and now people are. Spoilers. But it's like the first dungeon, so whatever.
That's not that bad.
Also, like I said,
I'll accept it. I'll let it slide.
But really good. Really good. I really enjoyed that.
That's good to hear. I want it to be good. I want them to get it done, honestly. So
I keep thinking about it. It's the only thing.
Well, I mean, when did we first hear about this? It's been years, right?
Years.
It's been in development for quite a while.
Yes, and it's 3 college kids.
Okay.
That have just
very small team.
You say college kids, but now they're basically a studio.
Now they're their own studio.
Yeah. So
hey, good on them.
And they're doing fantastic. The art style is fun, and continues to kind of evolve as they go. But either way, it's a heck of a thing.
Always good to see.
Actually, it's the only thing that that's got my mind off Monster Hunter.
Oh, Monster Hunter is so good.
We'll come around to that, but
that's true. Speaking of hunting monsters.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Speaking of hunting monsters.
Did I just do it on accident?
Oh, accidental segue.
Hit me.
It's going to work out. It's going to work out. I'll mold it in. I'm just kind of trying to think like what I played this year, kind of like honorable mention type stuff. But I really enjoyed Pokemon Sun. Of the new gen of Pokemon games.
A game that, have you beaten it yet?
I mean, I've beaten the Elite Four. I haven't done all the end game stuff. But found it very enjoyable. As Pokemon games evolve, they are becoming better games. They still kind of play on all the classic tropes of you got to do this. You're getting your starter Pokemon. You got to go through all the gyms.
Right. Which I burned through. I'm actually sitting outside. I have to grind up the Pokemon I want to use for the Elite Four.
Nice.
And that's kind of the loop I'm caught in. It's like I don't want to sit here and do this.
I don't want to grind, but
I have to grind because I have like
you don't necessarily have to, even if you're like pretty close to that level.
No, one of the bug Pokemon I want to use is like a level 30 or something.
Okay,
that's a little low.
A little low, maybe. But yeah, it's very charming as always. Now that they've got a more 3D sprites and they've introduced like tons of new systems.
They give you your bike basically right away or whatever it is.
Yeah, stuff like that's become like the quality of life. They've really jumped into the quality of life kind of stuff. It makes it a lot easier.
Get out there, catch Pokemon, and win badges. Well, and I said there's like a huge co-op thing at the end of this one, right? Like
yes, sort of.
So I need to get there so we can go co-op.
We can try. Yeah, we can figure that out. Because I actually don't know how deep that goes.
Well, I know there's hunting like the
Safari Zone.
There's the dimensional beasts.
Yes, yeah,
and you can catch those.
Yeah, and those are cool. And that's kind of your end game. Is like you catch those, you do Safari Zone, like farm up shinies.
Get your your Pokedex filled out.
Yeah, gotta fill out Pokedex, and and most charming of villains that have ever existed in all of Pokemon.
The Team Skull.
Team Skull.
Not really the big bad, but
kind of bumbling. As
in a lovable way,
as the Team Rocket style
they're hood rats
goes, they are very hood ratty, and they just are so white and so like wannabe gangsta. It's good.
My favorite screenshot going around after the launch of Pokemon Sun was the Team Skull guy just sitting there looking over kind of judgingly down at the player character in his pack that just showed up, and he's, y'all are dumb. That's all it says.
It is so good. Like I don't think I've laughed as hard at a Pokemon game ever.
Easily,
until Team Skull's like on screen and doing their thing.
Yeah.
Super charming. If you have any love for Pokemon or nostalgia for it, check out Sun if you haven't already.
I need to, because I'm still waiting for. There's no word on the Switch one yet.
Other than like there will be one at some point.
And it's a full Pokemon.
I think that's all we know is like it's coming.
And it's a full Pokemon. We know that. Those are the two things we know.
Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon just came out for 3DS as well.
Whoop-de-doo.
I got Ultra. We did get them.
Yeah.
It'll be a minute before I jump into it, though.
You have outside pressure in that regard.
I do. I was provided my copy, which is delightful.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's interesting that they've kind of gone to this kind of a style as well, because they did it with Ruby and Sapphire as well. They have like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire or something.
Right. I saw
where
that,
it's basically to replay like later. It's like a couple years later or something, and they kind of swap the exclusives.
So you want to do both Ruby?
Yes. So since I played Sun, I want to do Ultra Sun, and like if you started with Moon, you want to do Ultra Moon.
So do you get this? Is it the different legendary then?
It's like an evolved version. It's like a secondary. With the Sun, it was the Lion guy.
Yeah.
The new bad like Ultra Pokemon kind of takes over. It's like what's the equivalent? It's like it kind of parasites itself onto your ultimate.
Okay.
And it becomes like ultra powered, and it looks really cool because it's all black and and jaggedy. The art, they changed the art on it. It is a different Pokemon at this point.
Okay.
So you still kind of have to do a little finagling to get all your Pokedex filled. But
that's been true for years.
Yeah, it has. And they've added more like more clothing styles and changed up some of the exclusives, brought some old stuff back that wasn't in before. That
Fashion
kind of
Mon.
Yeah, Fashion Mon. I never get too much into that part of the game. It's a little impenetrable,
right?
Unless you're way into those games.
It's
mostly like, hey, I just want to like make my monsters fight other monsters.
See, I start off and be like, no, this is the one. I'm going to catch as many as possible, and I'm maybe even make a run at catching them all. And then I look casually at how one could do this. Like, okay, you need to transfer here, and I just lose. I'm just nope, done.
Yeah, I need to check out their digital system, their digital bank.
The digital bank, because you can buy the. I think it's red, and I think they're working on gold and a couple other ones.
Right.
That are the same old games. You can glitch them and everything, but you can put those Pokemon in your bank, and your newer games can access those. So you can, when they've done all that, it's actually possible without doing some ridiculous stuff of getting all the Pokemon.
Right. So theoretically, you can get your Mew.
Your
Mew Pokemon.
Well, yeah, because you can glitch the Mew. Right?
I can't remember.
Yeah, because in Red, you think you were telling me about this. In Red, there was a glitch for the Mew.
Yeah, there's a couple of glitches. There's like the missing number glitch, so you can like infinitely make items. And
right.
I can't remember the Mew one. I know. I can't remember.
And I think we looked it up, and those were still.
There was a lot of jank in those old.
Those
games.
are in those versions.
They definitely are. They've not really like remastered them. They're just kind of porting them.
Right. They're making them playable.
Port forwarding. That's a different thing.
Yes, but that's not what we're talking about.
It's a different thing, but yeah, that was one. Like I haven't played a lot of games this year, but that was definitely one of the highlights. Pokemon Sun was really good. Yeah,
Pokemon Sun. I enjoyed my time I spent with it, but unfortunately, I didn't spend enough time with it to get through. Like I got to the. Let's say the resolution of the story, but I haven't become champion yet. Okay, I've just got to go in there and do it.
Get through most of the plot. There is some good stuff after the Elite Four. It does open up some more storylines, which is something that's cool that I haven't really done before. There's a whole detective storyline that you can do after.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
There's some weird dark stuff in Pokemon that I've always really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Like you find a woman who has is it Machop at the final evolution? Machamp.
Whatever, yeah.
Is the multi-armed strong Pokemon. You find one and she's talking about how it's like her husband's Pokemon.
Oh, right.
And they worked construction together and the husband saved the Pokemon by recalling it to its ball as a cave-in happened or something and killed him. And when she let out the Pokemon, it took its ball and threw it in the ocean and refuses to go back in its ball. You're like, what the hell? This is for kids?
Yeah, there is some interesting... It's one of those things where they've kind of figured out that, hey, we can put some more adult stuff in this.
Right, as long as we do it
right. If they write it well.
Which it all has been fantastically written.
It is very well written. Another great part of those games. Especially as they were designed as kids' games.
Right, but they now have the people that started playing as kids have grown up, and now they will try and say things like, "Oh, if you don't, keep in mind these games aren't necessarily for you anymore," is what they were saying for a while. I think also at the same time, it's like, yeah,
they still kind of are. When you get Team Skull in there doing their weird rap type,
and their hip hop dancing and battling, and I
mean, they speak jive, and it's fantastic.
Oh, I love it when they speak jive.
But yeah, really honorable mention there. As we're going into the new year, I wanted to cover that.
Give a shout out to
Pokemon.
Right on.
One of those tried and true franchises that just keeps ticking and cranking out the games.
Right, but maintains its quality in a weird way.
Very much so.
Of course, we're not into the scene enough to know if there's up years, down years, whatever it is. All I know is anytime I look on Amazon or anywhere, those games are $40. They do not lose value.
They do not lose value.
At all.
Yeah.
So that's a thing.
And it's hard to even get the old ones. Having recently purchased a bunch of the old ones,
especially when the key ones are like, this is when the linchpin you need to transfer forward, or
if you're going to try and transfer anything forward, you have to have certain specific games and ways to transfer them, which is a lot harder than you might think, just because of the weird generation.
But here's the thing: is kudos
Game Boys and
kudos on them not just saying,
DSs.
Well, here's a new version. It's just this game again. It's how you're going to do it going forward, and every 5 years they just do that.
They're almost doing a TikTok cycle though, with the Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon kind of thing. Which is kind of disappointing. I wish they would innovate just a little bit more.
They're going to have to for Switch. They're going to have to change it up.
They might. We'll see. People will still buy it. If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, that's the thing is people will still buy it.
People will still buy it. I still buy it.
Right.
So,
it's
hard. It's a hard thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't like that model of
TikToking. Yeah.
Because it feels kind of slimy. Especially in technology.
But here's the thing is you got to understand Japan. Well, I was actually, before this year, I would say, you got to remember they're a safe country that says, we're going to do this very tried and true stuff. But this year kind of puts that all to shame, or
a little
kind of challenges that, I think.
Yeah,
so,
I think the state of Japanese game design is changing as well.
I mean, clearly, as most of the great games of this year, I think you can argue were kind of coming out of Japan. They were crushing it.
It's true. We've had a lot of good stuff, which is, it's fun. I'm glad. I do enjoy. Oh man, you know what I didn't play that I wanted to? Yakuza 0.
Yeah. Speaking of
games, I was just oh yeah, that just came to mind.
Okay.
That was out this year, and I never did get to play that.
See, I kind of want to. I almost want to do Yakuza 0 after they do a remaster of 1. Play through the ones as they were released chronologically. Because Yakuza 0 is going to be making nods to the games that came before it.
It's pretty well done, and it works both ways. If you started at 0 and then go to 1, you will understand the impact still of what 0 had to offer, and it actually makes things in 1 more impactful.
Maybe I'll look at picking that up because I don't,
it's been out for a while now. I wonder if that price is down yet.
Well, right now the sale prices for the end of the year
is on the Steam sale.
I don't think they came out on Steam, but I'm sure I could look on the PS4 and see where it's at.
Okay.
So that certainly
seems like an interesting lot of hours though to play through.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you gotta kill the time.
I've seen a little bit of the gameplay, and it's kind of a beat 'em up style thing, which is really cool.
Kind of an open world RPG beat 'em up.
Yes. It's a strange, very Japanese experience, but kind of cool, cool looking.
Well, speaking of a strange experience that's not really Japanese anymore, I over the weekend played through Lost Planet 3.
Now that's been out for a while.
Yeah, couple of years. So the PC port, which I played, was janky in places. It's saying, it took me a while to figure out, a button prompt was saying, hey, hold A to do this, and it's not. It's twirl the stick.
Well, okay. So
yeah, like completely.
Bad port design?
I don't know, because it's like, no, that doesn't, it's not doing the thing that.
Weird.
What? Yeah. So I had
it's a shooter.
Have you played any of the Lost Planet
games? I don't
games?
know anything about Lost Planet. I remember seeing some gameplay. That's about it.
This thing is a weird thing. Because I know it was done by a Western studio, and it feels like it opens up and you're like, okay, this is going to be a very...
Was it not a Western studio originally?
No, it was Capcom, straight up Capcom.
Oh, okay.
And then Lost Planet 2 was more of a co-op arena shooter type thing, where, like, look, I mean, not exactly Monster Hunter, but, this comparison's not bad. Hey, you're going to kill this giant acrid, which is what they call the monsters. Here's an arena with the acrid. Go to town. That was 2. 3 opens up in a very kind of cinematic. You're a dude on this ice planet. You're there making money for the family. You're going to make your money. Take care of your wife and your kid. Just your average, your working man.
Okay, sure.
And it's all very kind of, I would say almost, not exactly, but not terribly off the first Alien movie, when you got the kind of truckers in space vibe.
Okay.
It very much has that.
I can find that.
You're a bunch of guys working for the company, blue collar, just out in the sticks, trying to do the best you can. Also homicidal monsters. But then it controls like your Navy SEAL guy. You're constantly out there doing like ridiculous stuff, and they're like, no, we can't, you're a civilian, so we can't put guns on your mech that you have. You literally drive like a walker, but also here's an assault rifle and a grenade launcher, and they're just giving you all these guns, but you're not allowed to put them on your rig.
Okay.
So I have a suspicion that this game started off as an open world game that then got cut down because the way the upgrades you get, and like they make it feel like there's a bunch of optional side stuff, but it's not. And if you just follow, you can critical path and get through the story probably in about 8 hours. But because I stopped and did some of the side stuff, I did it in about 10-ish. And I didn't do everything. So one of the things you're doing is you're harvesting this. It's not just thermal energy. It's in everything. And it's in the planets, in the animals. When they die, they drop what's called T energy.
Okay. Materia?
Yeah, basically. Or it's basically, it might as well be souls for all it matters.
Right, yeah. Collecting souls.
It is the power source that humanity is on this planet to figure out, this desolate ice world. And you're planting these posts that basically are just harvesters. And you can go, every once in a while, you'll get a side quest that just says, hey, go back to that one that you planted and it's ready to be picked up for extra money. But.
Okay, weird.
But I went to maybe 1 or 2, and I had more money.
You didn't really need to engage with that part.
I bought every upgrade that I wanted, and some that just felt like I should buy for the heck of it.
Okay.
And so, like, things like that, like, it makes you feel like you're this working everyman doing all these jobs, but, like, they strapped in a settling torch to my mech. I used it once. So it felt like they were building the skeleton. It's the skeleton of a open world game. It's even an open world map that you can wander around, but there's nothing to do except for the story missions.
That's okay. So it just seems like a not finished open world game.
It feels like they ran out of time
to like fully flesh out like side quests.
And the story is interesting at points like, oh, this would be cool.
I mean, does it play well?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to.
I should say the last.
Did you enjoy this? Like, I'm kind of confused
at points. But, like, it never delivered on anything. You're not the everyman out there just working hard, barely surviving.
Okay.
Because they're like, hey, here's an assault rifle, and also here's 40 aliens running at you. Also, the last 45 minutes or more, they decide, hey, this is now a third-person cover shooter. Even though the aliens will rush your cover. You could do cover shooting before, and they kind of try and make you use it, but the aliens rush you so much that you find a spot where they don't really trigger right, and you basically shoot them from weird angles. Not unlike Space Marine.
Not unlike Space Marine. I was going to say, like, hey, that's like the opposite problem, but like
roughly the same time.
Yeah.
And then
they designed it for cover based.
Minor
but then don't let
spoilers.
You cover.
Yeah, minor spoilers for a game that's now like 5 years old. You fight human enemies at the end. For the last 45 minutes, is the first time and the only time you're fighting humans.
Okay.
And you have to use cover. But then the AI is so stupid that these military trained dudes are rushing your position, so you can almost line your crosshair up in one spot. And I killed like 6 dudes rushing me from the same spot just over and over. It had so much potential, and at moments, it's like the feel of it was cool.
Does it look good?
It looks all right.
Okay. I'm trying to like find redeeming stuff here.
They clearly, it looks like
this was just purely like a science experiment.
Kind of
for science.
Well, it was cheap and I was on sale, and I'm like, I always wondered about this game because the opening makes it feel like it's a very cinematic movie, like motion capture, Uncharted style.
I remember seeing some like big boss fight stuff.
Yeah,
like the boss enemies seemed.
I don't want to get too negative. I didn't care for the boss fights because it all becomes you're not doing it right. Do the boss fight the way we say.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I got that vibe from watching.
Like, okay, you need to block this guy this way, and then look here and use this. It almost turns into like an elaborate quick time, which there's also some quick time animations that you get locked into where like this creature rushes you and knocks you off balance and then rushes up around you and tries to stab you in the back, like, tries to eat you from behind.
Okay.
But you're locked into this animation for 15 seconds.
That's a long time.
Before you have to hammer A to get out of it.
Wow.
That's where you just lose control for 15 seconds. And it's not balanced.
Those kind of mechanics are never fun.
Well, and they also, every fight seems to overstay its welcome. Oh, I'm fighting 6 of these things. They're really mean. Okay, I killed 3 of them. 4 more what? 4 more just keep spawning. And then 2, and then 2, and then 2. To the point where, like, I've killed like 40 of these things.
Weird.
And
this sounds so weird.
And glitchy mechanics were like, hey, you've repaired. You can you can go and repair tech and stuff. So I repaired these gun emplacements that are in this ruined facility.
Okay.
Then they didn't shoot. They shot kind of half one alien and then stopped shooting altogether.
Yeah. Okay.
So it felt like
I probably won't go pick up Lost Planet.
I don't pick up Lost Planet 3.
I'm gonna pass.
I own it on Steam, and you'll have to play it eventually because I have
hard pass.
No. The format for the channel demands that you play it.
If I must.
So this is the advantage of playing these games before you do.
That's true.
Is that
you just like don't have to do it on stream.
I just can shovel garbage at you.
Awesome.
Like, hey, no, this is gonna suck, but we're gonna wait a little while because, yeah, that one's gonna be a rough one. But you could critical path it and just burn through it.
Yeah, we'll see.
But
when it comes up, I'll cross that bridge.
It suffers from the thing where it's like, oh, these characters are both like interesting, but one note at the same time. They very quickly become one note, and reasonings for things is just very much. It felt like there was about 10 or 15 hours that was cut out of parts of the game, as in, hey, this character's here and this is the place they're in. And now they're over here and are acting completely different for reasons that felt like it would be like the slow burn. Like, hey, maybe your coworker resents you because you're outshining him and you're the only 2 mech pilots on base and he slowly... Nope. It's you're friendly at first and then all of a sudden he just kind of takes a disliking to you because he is just whining about how he doesn't want to do work and you say, well, I'll do that. And that's your relationship from then on and he resents you for doing the work that he doesn't want to do.
Okay.
To the point where it's like, oh, hey, the main betrayal comes from this guy for reasons that aren't established. Also, the big human bad, you can see what they wanted to do. Okay. Take, for example, John Wick is a fantastic movie for shortcutting. They abbreviate certain things, but you get the gist of who characters are.
Okay.
You know, you get if you watch enough 80 movies, you're like, oh, I know who this guy is. This game tries to do that, but doesn't earn it and doesn't do a good job. You're like, oh, this guy's clearly fanatical.
Interesting.
But he's like talking like we've known him for forever. And like your relationship is
almost like there might have been some extra footage that didn't make it.
Almost like
the final cut.
They planned a long arc on this thing, and like there's two different.
Just got interrupted.
There's 2 hub cities, but there's nothing to do in either of them.
Yeah, this just doesn't seem like a good game.
I respect what I think it tried to do, and the seeds of some amazing stuff is there, but it didn't deliver on any of it.
Awesome.
So, unlike Grindia, I'm thinking about how bad it is, not necessarily how good it is. I had a very interesting weekend, let's say.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, at least it didn't take that long to get through.
Yeah, I think actually I was struggling with Lost Planet 3, and that's why I bought Grindia and plowed through that and said, oh, okay, I guess I should finish Lost Planet 3.
Oh, okay, I see.
Is kind of what happened on that. But speaking, let's put that aside. So we're
done talking about bad games.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe not. We'll see. But let's.
But
for the moment, let's talk about a game that we don't know if it's bad yet, but we both love it.
We did get some hands-on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Finally got some hands-on with the second Monster Hunter beta. So yeah, we mentioned last week that the Monster Hunter beta looked really cool and the weapons and everything looked good, but they did a second beta.
I think when we recorded last time, we
touched it.
We just touched it. We did the first 2 quests.
That's right. We did the first 2 quests. Okay, yeah. I struggle to remember.
That's fine.
But yeah, finished out the beta. We did get together and
got all 3 quests.
That last
the
extreme
Anjanath
difficulty Anjanath quest. Big weird nose dragon with wings.
It's like
pretty difficult, especially with the beta time.
The 20
time restrictions, 20 minutes to complete a quest that you would normally have 50 minutes to do.
Right, we did a research on what the main difference between the main game and this are going to be.
Yeah, since having played that, it has definitely been kind of pushing everything else out of your mind. It's a super interesting game.
It hits all the nerves because the moment to moment is good. The controls are. It's Dark Souls-esque in that it's very much animation priority. If you're going to try and hit something,
if you're going to go for one of your big combos, you have to commit to it.
But make sure that nothing's going to hit you.
Yeah, because it's slow and you got to finish out all that animation before getting
on the same token. If you
trampled by a giant dinosaur,
right. But if you time it right and that combo hits, that trampling dinosaur might get knocked on its butt,
which is pretty awesome. And
absolutely,
it's super satisfying, especially just the way that all the weapons felt.
Right.
And going through and playing with a bunch of those different weapons, man, it made me excited. Made me excited for what that game has to offer, especially because we were only really able to engage with the combat system.
Right.
They don't really have a lot of, like, you could collect stuff in the world, but there was not a lot of crafting.
Right. Carving up dinosaurs was cool, but
to create more gear we could carve up the dinosaurs, but we couldn't actually make any gear.
But we know it's a thing, and I think that's what really hooked us.
Yeah. There's that aspect of it being a loot farmer,
right?
Essentially, and it's just farming, and I can't wait. I hope that it's not too fast. That's kind of one thing. Like, I know it was a beta. I expect all of the things we were collecting were very accelerated, and like leveling up your tracking and things like that as you find footprints. Or
I think what people were saying is you should be getting to Anjanath and beating him your first couple of times, the Anjanath being the third one at the end of the demo. I think that's about 8 hours in.
Okay, interesting.
But I heard somebody saying that there's not a single Monster Hunter game that they have played that they put less than 200 hours into,
which is, it makes me hopeful.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. Because I did notice, like, as you're, finding footprints and things like that levels up. Mm-hmm. And once you're at a certain level, your scout flies can just track that monster. And it looked like you were leveling up individual monsters.
Yes.
Like, as you were tracking,
yes.
You were leveling up, like, to track that monster better.
Right.
Which I hope I hope that doesn't just, like, go away every time you start a new quest.
I think
it seemed to in the beta, obviously.
I think it does and it doesn't.
Interesting. Like once you've tracked Anjanath enough times, will you always, like, whenever you start that, or you target Anjanath for whatever, farming, you need a bunch of his wings or something.
Right.
Like, will you have to start that leveling process of getting there over again?
I'm not sure.
I didn't know.
But I know there's a research level in the main town.
That's right.
Where
we didn't get to do that at all.
No.
Yeah, we didn't get to see the main, like, hub town at all.
Right. This is all studying I've done, and in the wake of being way into this game and seeing if I'm going to be way into this. I know I usually don't pre-order games, but this is probably
I might pre-order.
Well, I usually,
especially if that Horizon Zero Dawn skin is tied to that.
Right. But this is one of those things I usually download the Sunday before, because that's when the preload goes live, but that's for games that usually launch on Tuesday. This game's coming out on a Friday. Anyway, I'm going to pre-order this game is what I'm getting to.
Yeah, I may need to as well.
But looking it up, there's
I don't want to be left out on launch day.
There's a Palico. It looks like maybe some other kind of creature that runs the research wing that you can go talk to him and look up books that, as you find out stuff about the monsters, as you kill it so many times, as you capture them, because there's capture missions, not just there's hunt and kill, and then there's hunt and capture missions.
Right.
So if you can capture a creature, you can take it back to the hub world, and I guess there's a place where you can see some of the monsters you've captured, like, hanging out.
Yeah, and that does look super interesting. I wonder what that means for farming. Like, What does that get you?
Well, specifically the book, it looked like it had, from the video of the guy I was watching, it says, hey, it won't ever tell you your drop chance, but say you're looking for a specific item for your gear set.
Oh, okay.
You can break this part off the monster and you have a higher chance of it.
Interesting.
So you say, I'm looking for these items. I need to break off this, and then just kill them regular because it's a high drop chance for there.
Okay.
And you can each carve each part once, I think, and then each monster 3 times.
And so when it is live, I guess we'll find out in a couple weeks. But when you are carving, like you need to be like go to the tail and then carve the tail, and then then walk up and like because it didn't seem like you could target. It just seemed like you'd
stand next to it and it has a circle prompt.
Did it really? Okay. Mm-hmm. I did not look that
closely. It's not location specific where you're standing on the monster, but the tail, when it gets cut off or whatever part comes off,
right,
you have to run to where that is. So you kind of want to get the monster to run away.
And I did know that,
to carve that part.
And that's kind of a cool part. Like while you're fighting, like you have different types of damage, like slicing. So if you do know you need to get a tail or some other part, like a spike or a claw,
and
it will fall off mid combat while you're kind of roaming. Like it takes a little while to kill these dinosaurs, and they cruise. They take off.
When they run, they
run away. You have to track them back
in the
down.
demo, it was, oh crap, he's running, and before he's turned, we're all putting our, I was using a heavy bow gun. So I'm throwing my weapon on my back and starting to try and sprint before he's even taken off because I know he's just going to outrun me.
And if you cut off a tail or anything, it drops right there where you're at. So if he runs, you do have to go back and find that tail. But
you only have 30 seconds from when you kill the monster, so you have to stop and carve.
Right, yeah. Or you just grab the tail on your way, which you do lose time, but hopefully in the main game when we have a longer time limit, it's not going to be as big a deal.
Well, and if you're only looking for that part, I mean, who cares if the monster gets away, right?
That's true, as long as you did cut off the tail
and you carve the tail. It's
and then armor sets that are themed after each of these monsters,
and they are
super cool looking,
and they are very much themed after. And there's going to be cosmetic armor slot.
Yeah.
Which lets you just say, okay, look like this. And
be these stats, but look like this other set.
Right.
I'm totally fine with that. I dig that.
From the stuff I've seen, the basic sword and shield look not puny, but nothing special in the demo.
I mean, the very basic one. It's a very small buckler and a short sword.
It looked like a short sword, maybe a dagger type thing. But I was looking at some screenshot stuff, and people are looking at the Rathalos. These monsters have weird names.
They do have weird names.
Sword and shield combo looks like a regular shield and looks almost like a 2-handed sword that's like a big triangle thing.
That sounds rad.
So it's...
Who am I kidding? I'm just going to use the glaive.
Your insect glaving.
The glaive and the bow.
And the kinsect.
The kinsect, yeah. That's still my favorite thing.
Oh, I love the puns.
I have a beetle that I can... send out onto monsters, and it's great.
It's your he's like family.
He goes out
and
he collects buffs.
Yep, and and the way each weapon plays completely different is
it's engaging. It's engaging in a way that I did not expect it to be, and it looks super cool.
Yeah,
very stylistic. The world is beautiful
and fascinating.
Very different biomes in each area, and
but fascinating. Even the hub world. We were looking at pictures of the hub world, how it looked kind of like a cobbled together out of ships and
very
whatever
Swiss Family Robinson style.
But frontier town, we're doing everything we can to survive, so we're carving up monsters.
Pretty primitive,
primitive but advanced at the same time. But it almost seemed, I don't know, I liked the feeling because it seems like one of those optimistic, we're out on the frontier, we're gonna go hunt monsters, hooray, kind of upbeat sort of game. And
that's another part that is pretty charming about that game. It is very lighthearted.
Yeah,
there's lots of goofy stuff. The animations for eating,
the puns.
Oh man, it just puns for days.
But and the food looks amazing.
Dan's in love.
Oh, it's where have I been? This game has been around for how long? PS2 era.
It's been around for a long time.
Since PS2, yeah,
quite a long time. And I just really well animated. Everything looks really fluid. The dinosaurs, or the monsters, I should say, they're all very dinosaur-esque.
To start, yes.
Yeah, and seeing some of these other trailers for areas that are coming out.
The thing that looks like you're under the ocean, but no ocean.
Yeah,
the Coral Highlands.
Coral Highlands, yeah. Beautiful looking zones, and just weird monsters.
Yeah,
Weird monsters, and they all have like different strategies to defeat, which I also find pretty
There's like the
engaging.
The raptor-looking thing that like pops its ears up and flashes everything in a cone in front of it and stuns it.
Flash bombs everybody.
Which that video is great because he just flashes and then all of a sudden you see a bunch of birds falling out of the sky.
It's super cool. Like it's weird little touches like that are really good.
But you're right. And like there's a lot of care that went into it's everything.
Pretty well crafted.
Absolutely.
Pretty well crafted, and it makes me excited. I want to see what that full
so fair warning, this might become the Monster Hunt cast.
Yeah, the Monster Hunter podcast.
It really might. I mean, we're kind of like, it might. No, it's there's a high likelihood of that being.
Well, we're definitely going to be playing it for a while, so
yeah, that's going to be
expect more when it comes out on the 26th of January.
It'll be probably Destiny, except for we'll be excited to talk about it.
Oh no, it makes me sad. It makes me sad.
Oh, wasted
Destiny,
potential.
Wasted. Destiny
continues to be not a thing.
Yeah, haven't really touched it. I did finally finish the story, but some of that was kind of cool. Aesthetically speaking, there were some cool zones. That's all.
That's it. That's it.
All.
So, just so we get away from Destiny as fast as possible.
I agree.
We were thinking, being a backlog themed kind of channel, wanted to talk about the game that we the most memorable game that we played, be it for I don't know, being bad, being good, being stylish, being just thought-provoking.
Left a little bit of an impact.
The one that you think about, you go, oh, right, that. And then the game we wish we had played. But, Joe, why don't you start us off with your game?
Yeah. This is not like a top 10 list or anything. There's no ranking going on
Especially because there's only one game.
Especially because we're only talking about one game. I don't really have a lot of games that I play, especially like normal or new games, I should say. I don't usually play things when they come out, except in like very particular cases where I kind of have an idea of what it is and I'm already going to enjoy it.
Someone has convinced you that this is a game that you want to...
Yeah, I'm not really one to just go out and buy everything,
right?
And play through a bunch of, especially stuff on console. It's kind of hard. So, but I was very pleased this year to have played through Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah,
and from the get-go, I thought this game looked gorgeous. Wanted to play it from the moment I saw it at E3.
I mean, robot dinosaur things.
Really great game. If you have not played it yet, I highly recommend going through, pick it up. I think they've got some DLC out now. I haven't played the DLC yet, but I did play 100% of the main game.
Right.
I did platinum trophy.
Wow. I have never platinumed anything.
And you're probably better off. There's an illness that goes along with wanting to 100% things. But Horizon Zero Dawn is a dystopian future after
post-apocalyptic,
very post-apocalyptic, but a lot of the technology is still kind of around, and a very high-tech society to a very primitive society.
Okay,
so you're an outcast. Like it's so tropey, the whole thing.
Right,
you're an outcast in your tribe, and you kind of ostracized by all the other kids, blah blah blah. Starts off you're a little kid,
right?
And you kind of start getting curious about the old world.
Okay,
blasphemy. You're not allowed to do that.
Oh, okay.
So they're very regressive in that regard.
We know that you don't do this. We don't know why that you don't do this.
Yeah, you stay away from the technology. It's what destroyed us before. Don't mess with it.
Right.
Of course, you're just outcast. You don't care. So you're like, whatever.
You're like, you treat me like garbage anyway.
You find a little piece of tech, and it lets you kind of like eagle vision, kind of scan the world.
It gives you a HUD, doesn't it?
A little bit of a HUD, kind of an AR HUD.
Okay.
Which is really cool looking, very well done as well.
Okay.
It's not like a hands-free ear thing, but you stick it on your temple. And
it's like the douche earpiece.
Kinda.
Oh man,
It's kind of that.
Okay.
It's sexier. It's not in your ear. It's more of it projects out of off your temple. But kind of a cool way to interface with things, and you're scanning stuff like typical. But I mean, it's very aesthetically pleasing. Great game. Looks good. Very open world. Open world.
Okay.
And the combat is kind of what the world is there, and it's very engaging, and they've done a really good job of writing it all. Some of the acting of voice acting is a little lackluster, especially on side quests.
I heard that the farther away you get from the main quest, the kind of jankier some of the character models and the voice acting gets.
Yeah, definitely.
It was a studio. The studio had a deadline, is what you're telling me.
Definitely had a deadline, but it doesn't affect the game.
Okay,
it's not a big enough gripe.
It's not immersion breaking.
It's not. It's really not.
Like you notice it, but you're like, eh.
It's like whatever. This guy's a side quest, and I don't have to be doing this.
Says the guy who platinumed.
Says the guy who did everything.
I remember fairly early on, you're like, I'm going to platinum this game. I'm going to platinum.
Well, the combat is so satisfying. You generally you start out, you get
typically like bow combat, right?
It's that's kind of your main thing. You have a spear and you have a bow.
Okay,
and you have a number of other bow type weapons that you upgrade. You find new ones. It's very it's kind of looty a little bit. None of it's like rare drops or anything. Which once you get to certain vendors, you can buy better weapons. So there's not a lot of randomness going on.
Are the best weapons always bought?
What?
Like bought from vendors?
Oh, yes. Okay. Except for the one upgrade that you get for your spear. You kind of use the same spear the whole time until you get one upgrade to your spear.
Okay.
And that's just part of the story.
Okay.
So, and as you're doing it and beating certain things, you're unlocking more powerful. You can take over some of these robot dinosaurs.
Right, you can hack them and stuff.
Yeah, you can hack them, which is super interesting because they're all mechanical. You can shoot off different parts that you need to create different weapons or ammo, I should say, because there's just different elemental types of arrows or traps or bombs. I went a more stealthy route in Horizon Zero Dawn, so you get a whistle early on where you whistle
and you draw one guy off.
You'll draw one guy off, and then you can just critical strike from the bushes.
And it's kind of ridiculous at a point, isn't it?
It is, and it's a lot of fun. It's because once you have enough to override a lot of the bigger dinosaurs, you just whistle them over, and then you just take them over, and they will immediately turn on anything hostile in the area and start attacking them for you.
Okay.
So I kind of went through my playthrough doing a lot of that.
That's great. No, I mean,
it was a lot of fun.
That is a lot of fun.
And I mean, they've got stuff you can tie things down, target specific areas, and tear different parts off.
Like trip mines and things.
Trip mines, you can just literally tie stuff down so you can target things a little easier.
Huh.
It's got some bullet timey type slow down and snipe things if you desire. But really interesting game. Had a lot of fun with it. I don't know how much more there is to say, honestly. It's I'm really glad I got to play it, and it was definitely the most memorable thing that I played this year that was somewhat new.
Yeah.
And actually came out this year.
But you keep thinking about it every now and then.
I do. Every time it's brought up, I'm like, oh yeah, Horizon. That game was rad.
Yeah.
And if you haven't played it, I recommend it.
I need to borrow a copy or figure something out.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's kind of Zelda-like open world.
Right,
that kind of a weapon.
It's something like
upgrade.
you devote a long weekend or more if you're trying to platinum, and then
you could probably get through that game in 20, 30 hours.
Cool,
but there's enough story there. Even if you wanted to critical path it, it'd be.
I always did like the way it
experience.
looked. I just never did.
It feels good too. The movement, the gameplay, it feels really good. It's real tight.
Right on. Well,
what about you, Dan?
Well, I was gonna say I'm gonna try and set this up strategically here. What's the game that you wish you had gotten to but have not?
Well done. I'm going to go with Persona 5. In which I did play some, but not a lot.
Gotcha. Well, that's weird. That's a weird coincidence. Almost like we talked about this ahead of time.
Is it that weird?
It's kind of weird because that's the game.
This is not ham-fisted at all.
No, it doesn't feel forced. That's my game that when I think about it, I go, oh, right, that was this year. Oh, right, that was amazing. I loved Persona 5.
And I loved what I played of Persona 5.
Right. But
I fell off.
Because you're one of those, because you were thinking you were going to platinum it first run kind of playthrough.
Not exactly. That's not what stopped me. I just kind of fell off. I don't really know why.
Huh.
I think.
Well, I know why. You were telling me that you were grinding it pretty hard, though?
Sort of. I mean, I don't know. Because you can't really grind Persona.
Okay.
You can't really grind.
I mean, it's tougher too. Yeah,
there are ways. It's a JRPG, but it's not your standard Final Fantasy JRPG.
No, it is the. Oh gosh, how do you describe Persona 5 for someone who doesn't know? Let me just let's do the basically
part JRPG, part dating
Oh,
sim.
it's all JRPG. It's all JRPG.
I mean, it is, but it's not Final Fantasy style.
No. What it is basically for this one, you're a high school kid who got basically accused of assaulting someone when you were really just trying to like step in and well, it gets deeper.
Very anime trope.
Anime trope is like basically you got set up for not doing. You were the good guy trying to help, and you got
framed by the administration.
Like a guy who was in power who clearly had some clout, and just said, "Nah, make this kid's in for it." And you basically are. It's weird. I mean, it's all a very. The setup, I don't know.
It's deep.
You go to live with a guy who runs a coffee shop, and he's your chaperone, but he kind of could give a damn. So he's just like, look, don't get into trouble, because then you're going to get it, and you live above the coffee shop, but he doesn't live there at all. So you're basically getting more freedom.
You're just the guard dog of the coffee shop.
Right. You live above a coffee shop, and at a point you can actually go down and start using all the stuff that's there. You learn how. So you're trying to like fit in as the new kid that rumors are everywhere about how you're this deeply violent criminal, and so everyone's kind of afraid of you as this like thug, which is great because you're kind of a nerdy kid with glasses. Not like super nerdy, but enough.
It's super anime,
but
that's the other part of it, and it plays on a lot of anime tropes,
right?
Especially in like the school realm of school animes.
You're right. It takes on that kind of everyday school life, but then you also have to manage the fact that you've discovered your ability to go into like other dimensions that are manifestations of people who have let their negative emotions become so unchecked that it creates basically like dimensional rifts that you can raid. And if you do things right, you can actually change their heart back to normal. Like, and make them confess that they've been doing wrong, which is usually some pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah,
like the first
surprisingly adult.
The first one is like, oh no, this teacher is physically abusive and even sexually abusive to his students.
Yeah,
and like, a lot of people turn a blind eye, including the principal, because he's doing good for the school, and so
sports. It's very much like very like true to life modern
in a way that you're just like, this is. It's
with some anime extreme,
but it's honest
stuff going
it's like
on.
It's not honest. It's what do you like? Not well-meaning, but earnest. It's earnest.
Yeah,
it's very earnest, and then it jumps all the grayness between. It's like, no, he's totally doing all these things.
They're not trying to be subtle at all.
And oh man, but then it goes from there, and it goes deep, and it's
and that's one I need to get back to.
And the style, just that you befriend a cat that can talk, that you find him in this other realm as like a very cartoony looking like mascot character, but in the real world is just a cat.
Just a cat that can still talk to you.
But because
in the real world.
But because you know he can talk is why you know he can talk. It plays around with cognition, and it's you basically sometimes you're trying to some of the things that you're doing, you have to get someone to recognize a thing for it to change in their subconscious, which manifests in this other dimension, and it's a turn-based RPG at its heart, but it's everything around it that just makes it so worth playing. And I don't want to.
Well, and then there's the time management component that really like kind of irons out its niche in that space,
because you have your day, which is
your day
generally school,
and you can only do so many things during a day,
right? And so, during the day you have daytime, which is generally school, but not always.
And you're spending your action points on.
Basically, you have action. I mean, it's not
that granular, but
and then you have
certain things will cause the time to go forward.
And you have early evening, which you can spend your time doing any number of things, becoming better friends with your I don't know, we should get into the personas. As you become better friends with your team members, it allows you have the power of personas, in that like everyone else has a persona, you're special. You can use different.
You're the chosen one,
right? You can use different personas. So you can fuse multiple personas into more powerful personas, and the stronger
and
you
switch them out, and
they have affinities,
and have different affinities.
And as you are stronger with that affinity, be it through your social links with other people,
social links where the dating sim kind of trope comes in.
Or this game, you're hanging out with a politician, at times, and you're learning all kinds of political tricks that allow you to negotiate with people better because you're hanging out with this disgraced politician, but finding out like the individual stories are fascinating. There's a awesome punk rock doctor who will sell you drugs.
Experimental drugs,
right?
And experiment on you
that you use in the other world because they have all kinds of crazy effects. But like she's also just going with it because she's got basically everyone in this that you interact is an outcast of some type. Because that's the point is you're trying to change society because it's unfair or unjust to you in some way. And that's like the overall theme. Like Persona 4 was very much the Jungian face your shadow. Yes. And accept the darkness that's in you and become stronger as a result. This is very much you are on the outside. You are a slave to society or any number of things. What are you willing to do to make yourself free?
And all of these are very interesting in a socio-political / philosophical way.
And while they're earnest and maybe a tad heavy-handed, it's never overly. I mean,
that's the anime,
but not cringy. But not cringy.
Not cringy. Definitely, I give it a pass because it is very anime.
And I spent.
And they tackle these issues in a way that
is interesting, if nothing else.
Modern like American games definitely don't.
Oh no, not at all.
They don't even try.
This thing, I mean, no, like just. And here's the thing: is the. Like all the things that go into, hey, everybody knows that this one teacher is a scumbag. Everybody pretty much has some idea that this dude is not on the up and up, but why has nobody done anything? Like, yeah. And you get into like the social dynamics at these kids at the high school, or maybe,
and it's still fairly understandable, even though it is all done in a very Japanese way.
Yeah,
like it's done through Japanese social norms and how people interact with each other,
and they don't pull back on that trying to Americanize it to make it work, which I think
is to its favor.
It is because you intuit what they mean by. You're like, okay, I don't see what the big deal is here, but that's clearly a social thing,
and even if you're kind of sort of aware of how like Japanese save face and are in relation to their superiors and things like that.
We had an experience where
this was actually fantastic.
We went to a new sushi place just to give it a test, and something happened. It wasn't or was it wrong, but they missed part of it.
Yeah, and didn't get us one of the rolls we'd ordered.
Yeah, and then no big deal. We're like, oh hey, actually, you know what? It turns out we're okay. Just don't charge us. We're fine. The chef, clearly a man from Japan.
Oh, very, very much so.
Came out and apologized profusely and bowed.
And bowed multiple times to us.
And we're like, no, it's fine. But like, he still was like, I apologize. Let me explain what happened. We're going to do better. This won't happen again. I am deeply sorry. And she's like,
it was great.
You missed a roll, dude. It's cool. But
that's not how they work.
That's not how they work. Even though we're telling him it's okay, he feels socially obligated. No, I have to do these things because I'm wrong in this case. So anyway, this game very much it hits those notes, and it is
a cultural experience.
But it is also it's a cultural but relatable on so many levels.
Definitely.
And it's funny. I'll say that.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
it is well written.
It is well written.
That was one of the things I enjoyed most about my time with it. Is like, it's just goofy. It deals with some heavy themes, but then it does know when to drop back and have some levity,
right?
And kind of let you decompress after some of those dungeons where you're dealing with some real heavy adult themes.
Yeah. And since of the time management things is you can get to the point where you've resolved that, but you won't get the full resolution for another 2 weeks because you're
in game time.
In game time because you're just like, I've now, I cleared this dungeon basically the first or second day that I could do it. Because you have to manage.
They give you a number of days for each dungeon, so
you have deadlines.
You can kind of take your time. You can jump in and level up a little bit, jump back out. Right. Go to the coffee shop, have a nice coffee, maybe go
hang out, go see a movie or something.
Go see a movie,
read a book, and get up your courage.
Hang out at the hot springs.
Yeah,
work on.
I don't know if I got to the hot springs.
I think it's one of the ways you up one of your charisma
things.
Yeah.
Oh, I maxed
because you're nice and clean and.
When
you go talk to the ladies,
the girl I was after, I had to get max charisma to go girlfriend her up, so I got nice and charismatic.
And the social link thing is super fascinating.
Right,
the way that they force you to do game mechanics to deepen your bonds with your friends and party members, and not even party members necessarily, but just people around town.
Right. And they all have great stories.
Yeah, and they all have very deep, very. I mean,
I'm probably going to play.
Are any of them happy? I mean, I didn't like most of them are a little. No. They're like you said, fringes of society.
I think that's So there's going to be some sadness.
Yeah,
Shogi Girl is not terribly depressing.
That's good,
but it isn't happy either.
Yeah, the happiness kind of comes from
resolution,
other things.
Well, the resolution as well.
Yeah, when you resolve each of these things, because they do change they change their hearts, they change their mind. It does have real world consequences for them most of the time in the case of like abusive coach.
Yeah,
but man, yeah.
Or just
talking about this game, I kind of want to play.
You need to get back in.
I need to get back in.
You need to get back in.
It's one of like my biggest regrets
of
the year.
The other thing I was going to say is like
I said,
being the big regret, this should be the game that's priority on your backlog, right? Backlog number 1.
Yeah, true. Very true. Maybe I'll have to. That's a long commitment, though.
You never met Arcade Kid when you were playing, did you?
I did not know.
Okay. I haven't got deep enough in to know what his deal is.
I've only got like the first like 3 social links that you can do.
Gotcha. Your party members.
Your party members and then Punk Rock Doctor.
I love Punk Rock Doctor.
Punk Rock Doctor's cool.
She's great. She's great. I think they're all great. But you actually, just a hot tip, you want to level up Punk Rock Doctor pretty quick because she'll discount you.
Yeah, she does the discounts. That's kind of what I went. Well, that's kind of why I made it a point to like level up the social link.
I rocked
faster.
One accessory on all my party members. There's a bandage that she sells that's the SP accessory 3 that you rebuild your mana points every turn, and it's like 7 or 8 every turn,
which is crazy and exactly the way I would want to play that game.
Yeah, it made that's how do you think I was clearing dungeons on the first day?
On day 1, yeah, because you just jump in and get through the whole thing.
Which
I don't have to worry about it.
I'm looking forward to.
That's another interesting part of Persona is that SP. It is a limited resource. Mm-hmm. So unlike your mana and things in most other JRPGs where you can kind of just have enough items laying around to keep going.
You can't, you
absolutely cannot in Persona. They limit it based on that SP.
Right.
It's not easy to get back.
Right.
And it only comes back if you basically leave the dungeon and
rest for a day.
And rest.
And lose that day.
And you lose that day. So it's really interesting in that you need to kind of prepare to go into these dungeons,
but stock up on those items.
Never had to deal with in an RPG,
and stock up items almost a week or 2 ahead of time because there's limited stock at the stores.
Exactly, so you can only buy a couple of the SP potions on your way in from the vending machine,
sodas, or
the sodas, the different food items
because they're real world items. So you're like, oh, I'm gonna go buy a bunch of yakisobas. Oh, they only have 2. Oh no!
They don't restock either.
And
you can get a job. You can get a part-time job.
You can get several part-time jobs. And that's where it breaks.
It gets a little juggly, but
they're like, okay, what stat do I want to level up, or do I want to get the one that just makes me money? And I'm gonna bail on that flower store as soon as my understanding goes high enough. And it's
a fascinating layers of systems that actually work really well. Yeah, and there are trade-offs to where you invest your time, and it's a very much an interesting management sim of sorts.
Right. Well, also those skill trees themselves, they are
also true.
They're not what you would think. You would think, like, oh, there is knowledge and there is bravery or courage, and you're like, okay, those make sense. Then it's was it kindness, understanding, and it's empathy, understanding, and something else. There's 5 of them,
and you have to level those up to progress the social link storylines.
You hit rank points,
and
so you're reading books, you're drinking certain things when you're studying, and
you're attempting to complete food challenges at local restaurants.
I only did that once,
really,
but it gave me the gave me the level up I was looking for.
It gives you the
Cosmo Burger.
Yeah, the Cosmo Burger.
Oh man, but
bring on the meat dimension,
right? Weird as hell, but oh man,
such a good game.
Well, and this one also added a weird overworld place, so you can kind of go and grind when you don't have anything else.
That's true. Yes.
Well, and here's
you can spend some time to kind of go into like an almost other dimension.
And another hot tip
where you deal with like very minor problems that people are having,
but it's also like global perception. It is. It is the.
It's an interesting game.
Global.
There's some weirdness there.
Consciousness, almost the subconscious of the city itself, and it's a subway system. And you're running around there, and if you go in on a high pollen day, I think after 2 or 3 turns, whatever monster you're fighting just dies.
That's super cool
because everything's amplified there, and it's amazing.
Yeah,
some of the things you have to go through. Yeah, and you're just going around helping people,
and the art style.
Oh, so stylish.
The stylishness of this game is basically what sold me on it. I saw the opening
cinematic thing,
the opening scroll essentially, where it's loading up to the start screen, and it's just like Great music.
The music gets in your head.
Yes. Oh man, it's fantastic. You could just sit and listen to that soundtrack on its own forever.
I need to go back and see if they've got the full thing up on Spotify yet.
Bet they do.
They only had part of it, but here's the thing: I will say
good.
this: I actually went through, and I think it changed the music tracks as well, because I think they redid the music for America. I downloaded the Japanese language pack with because everything has subtitles.
I think I downloaded it as well, but I'm only playing in English.
Yes, because you're a monster.
Well, my wife likes to watch.
Okay, well that's at least an excuse.
Yeah,
but I will say there's something about the way that Japanese voice actors react to things that fits in with the culture.
Well, and that game lends itself to a new game plus, so I can always just I'll play through it in Japanese the second time around.
Yeah, I really need to fire up my new game plus and go
see what that's like.
Well, because here's the thing: is they don't give you everything unlocked, but if you max your social link,
you get your social links.
No. Well, they give you one thing that gives you one of the skills from that.
Okay.
And then your girlfriend, whoever, if you have a girlfriend, she gives you a carryover item.
Okay.
So theoretically, you could date all the different girls, but I think I got my waifu all figured out.
Waifu is locked in,
dude. Just fits so well.
I'm excited. I need to get into this. Maybe once we have a capture card, we can.
I'm working on it still.
Don't worry about it.
No,
we'll get there.
Well, for Monster Hunter, we can't just
for Monster Hunter.
So we're less than a month out for that.
Yeah, so we may need to accelerate that process. But
what do you do?
Go back to capture some actual
catch footage, a couple of days worth of work of.
Maybe we don't do the whole of Persona 5 just because it is 100-hour game.
Well, I got through it in about 80, and here's the funny thing is I beat it with. I mean, there's one guy that was kind of a tricky fight towards the end, but the last fight was not hard for where I was.
Yeah.
I know. So, but buddy of ours actually was 20 levels higher and about 15 hours deeper into that game when he got out of it, and of course he crushed it.
Right.
But that tells you the kind of the breadth of time you could spend in that game.
Lots of min-maxing that you can do.
Right.
In order to.
And don't forget your
max it all out.
Going to the replica weapon store.
Oh yes,
because you're
that's always a cool thing about this.
And I love that the way they explain it as well. If the higher quality of the replica, the more effective it is in
the other dimension
because it looks realer.
It becomes real. Yeah.
Because it looks realer, therefore it is more. But it's perceived as real.
Yeah.
And it's this whole cognition thing.
It's so good.
It's fantastic in that regard. And I never could get my bravery up to talk to the gun store owner and be like, yo, you had me hide this bag from the cops. What's the deal? Because that's a thing that happens.
Oh, I think I made it that far. I have seen that.
Yeah, that
and
scene.
I think I did be like, oh, what is this? What am I doing?
You eventually look into it.
Cool.
But in order to, you have to be max bravery or courage to even talk to the dude about it.
That's so good.
Yeah, but it's it's so
it's
okay.
Exciting.
We're gushing now.
Yeah.
But if you have any interest, look up some footage on it. Just kind of keep yourself spoiler free because that game is all about in the reveals and just kind of how it all comes together and plays out.
Yeah.
Some of it you'll see coming.
Yeah,
maybe you won't.
Maybe we'll have to do a little something with it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, we have to do something with it.
Yeah, we'll do something with it in the future.
Yeah. But to kind of, I guess, finish it off here. My game that I have spent the whole year wanting to play, and I own it now, so I have no excuse, Nier Automata.
Great looking game.
The more I hear, I don't hear plot points, I just hear
it seems like
design
weird,
philosophy.
Seems like a weird thing.
Well, the game director was blown away by people liking the game so much. And he's like, look, I just thought of this as that one weird girl in high school that you have a crush on? This is that game. I love that people like it. I want this to be you don't understand why you like it, but you do. And it's okay, sure, but at the same time, it's got 26 endings.
It's got a bunch of endings. It's a weird format.
But also,
I
also was reading that there's because you play as an android, several different androids.
Yes.
And it's kind of different perspectives to the whole story, but a lot of repetitive stuff. But at the same time, there's certain things like the combat robots I was reading, somebody was trying to break down. These combat robots are designed in a way to make combat exciting and very visceral and very flourishy. And they start talking about how those robots are also kind of sexualized in a way that kind of blur that all into one kind of euphoric experience. Whereas you have a recon character that you play, and the combat is boring and isn't all that exciting. And a way that kind of like is supposed to, because the way he goes as a character is it also plays into the frustration he has, kind of that pent up frustration that he's not built to express that stuff.
It's just a beat 'em up, right? Kind of like beat 'em up / bullet hell,
right? But there's some philosophic stuff
in 3D
happening.
space. Oh yeah, and then they're trying to
like that. There's all that stuff that you're just like, wait, this is the thing is like, and apparently it's fairly straightforward in there, but there are all these things going on, and it's like androids fighting robots, androids fight for humans, robots fight for aliens.
It seems weird enough,
and everybody's struggling with their own kind of dilemmas, but it doesn't really make sense until you get to the last ending. Kind of puts the bow on it, but also to get the full platinum, as it were,
right? You
have to sacrifice your save game,
which I find so strange.
I'm intrigued.
It is kind of intriguing, like,
and kind of going back, like this is where it's games like Persona 5 and Nier, and I mean, let's Monster Hunter coming out, and Legend of Zelda. These are things that make it look like Japan. Like 2017 was the year of Japan, and it looks like 2018 is not going to slow down any,
which is good.
Which is great.
That's super promising.
Well, here's what I would love to see is that seesaw back and forth between innovation coming from different places.
Right, yeah.
And watching how that affects the... Look, if there's more good games,
it would be nice to see better competition, especially if we are approaching this horrifying free-to-play world.
Right. Here's the thing is, more good games is good for everyone.
Exactly. And more competition, good for everyone.
Right.
And it's... Hopefully people are getting tired of the status quo that we've kind of been seeing.
Right. I mean, it feels like that this last year with the standout games being... so weird. Not even weird, but
kind of indie,
taking chances,
very risky on some things.
Yeah,
Cuphead comes to mind.
Oh, Cuphead, yes, that I have played a good amount of Cuphead. Need to play more Cuphead.
I need to play Cuphead. Yeah, like I love the art style, everything. But it's games like that kind of come out of nowhere, do something different, look very different, and kind of leave their mark in a way that your Call of Duty does not.
Right, and Call of Duty apparently was really good this year too, but was just Call of Duty, so that's not really anything we're talking about.
Yeah, we're not really Call of Duty people.
No, I mean, I was back when it was really, really good. Modern Warfare came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I played the hell out of that game.
I still would kind of like to jump back and see what Counter-Strike Go is all about. That's one that I've kind of been curious about.
It's about knife gambling.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's still kind of interesting because I have not really touched that like Call of Duty, Counter-Strike market for a long time.
You're going to get shot in the head a lot.
A lot, yeah. Lots of that stuff. And I expect as much, but it seems like something I kind of want to check out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, cool. So I guess
we have some things on the list.
Joe, can I commit you to play Persona 5 in the coming year?
Yeah. No, I'll agree to that.
Completion.
To completion.
Nice.
Yeah, sure.
Because here's the thing is, I'm pretty sure we can have one, and then maybe
I own it, so I got to get to it.
We could do a Persona 5 thoughts and then spoiler cast kind of thing.
Yeah, we might be able to do that. Maybe a shorter form feature rather than
I have a
full
feeling
playthrough.
No, I'm saying we capture game footage and then it's just you and I talk for probably 2 hours about how great that game is. It's probably what it's going to be if we're honest.
2 hours, that's a long time.
Yeah, but oh, come on.
I don't know that we need to do a full spoiler cast. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge.
I don't know why
we'll cross that bridge.
Yeah, we'll take it under advisement. But I will also. I might start as soon as this weekend. As starting on Nier, unless we want to start.
Cool.
Unless that's when we actually want to play through. But I think I don't know.
That one might be one we want to try just playing through.
But I want to do all the endings, and I don't. Anyway, we'll consider that. We'll take that under advisement.
Maybe not a full playthrough on that one. Maybe we'll just do some.
Hey, here's 1/26 of what this game has to offer.
Here's one ending,
right?
Because it's pretty short. Like start to finish playthrough.
Yeah, and then
you can do it in a couple hours.
It's an aggregate thing. It's when you got
as you start digging in and going for the other endings is where that game really kind of starts to open up and shine.
Yeah, I suppose there's something we could work around on that.
We'll figure something out.
Maybe do a super cut.
There we go.
But we've gone, I think, quite long enough on our end.
Definitely.
So thank you everybody for joining us. Any feedback, hit us up at our email, which we'll have on the screen.
Or comments.
Or comments.
I promise I read all the comments.
Yes. If
I don't comment right away, I apologize.
It's because you're a lazy son of a gun.
I am a little lazy. It's not really what it is.
It's fine.
Mostly I don't jump on there to check it all the time, but I will get to it.
Right on. But thank you everybody for listening, and we'll catch you next year. No, we're recording.
This will be up next year.
This will be up next year, so we will catch you next time on the Backcast.
Catch you guys later.